Welcome to the Art of Likeability, where you learn the secrets to becoming more likable in all areas of your life. Increasing your likability improves your relationships, and improved relationships increases your success in all areas of your life. Let's jump in with your host, Arel Moody.
What's going on, everybody? Arel Moody here, host of the Art of Likeability. And if you want to know how to improve your likability so you can improve your relationship, so you can improve your success and happiness, you are listening to the right podcast. If you don't want those things, you are listening to the wrong podcast. Today, I'm excited to talk about a very important strategy for long-term success, and it's difficult to implement because the short-term benefit of doing the opposite of this may feel so good and may feel so warm like a hot fudge on a Sunday goodness, but you still shouldn't do it because hot fudge is bad in large dosages, and so is what I'm about to tell you. All right, so here's what it is. Simple idea, but let me explain why it's so valuable. Do not burn bridges. Do not burn bridges if they do not need to be burned. A great example of that is your employment. A lot of us in the current day will work multiple different jobs. We jump from one company to another. It's just normal. A lot of people, maybe yourself, you've probably had a bad experience with an employer. Maybe you didn't like the boss, maybe you didn't like the work, maybe you didn't like the people, you didn't like the hours, whatever the case may be. At some point you left, maybe you got fired, maybe you resigned, maybe you got a new job or you got promoted or whatever the case may be, you left the current position that you're in. It may be very tempting to finally give that boss of yours a piece of your mind. Or if you're thinking, you know what, if I'm going out, I'm going to go out in style and I'm going to knock over some styrofoam cups and I'm going to kick over the water cooler and I'm going to flip the bird to all of these crazy people and do all these crazy things because who needs these people anymore because they're no longer necessary for you. Or maybe months go by and there's something that could benefit someone from your previous job, maybe your previous employer, but you say, that person wouldn't help me if they were in a position to, so I'm not going to help them. Or maybe you're connected with those people on social media and you're no longer on that job, so you decide to defriend them or unfollow them or unsubscribe, whatever the term is, and you cut off all of your communication from them. What you're doing when you do that is called burning a bridge. Burning bridges, though it may feel like you're getting a short-term victory, it's a very, very bad and unlikable long-term strategy for a few reasons. Number one, you don't want to be the type of person that has to sink to that level of vindictiveness. A very evolved person can push that down and move on. So as one, from a developmental point of view, you want to be able to realize that you're so strong and so confident that you don't need to do those kind of small base level things. On a long-term self-preserving likability perspective, it's also important to realize that you never know, you just never, ever, ever know who can help you, how they can help you, or who you may need a recommendation from or someone to put in a good word for you. So I know a young lady who worked at a company that she did not like. It was a job that she felt did not fit for her, and she didn't like it for a lot of reasons. And it came to a point where she was ready to quit, and she did. And she had a really mean boss who was he was a teen who happened to run a company. He was a teen in his mind, but he was a grown adult, but very immature. And it was so tempting for this young lady to want to just yell and, say nasty things, whatever the case is. But she decided to keep a good relationship with the people. She doesn't necessarily contact them or need to contact them, but it was her desire to say, I'm not going to go and do that extra step. I'm not going to go and do that mean thing. Now, that takes a lot of courage because every single ounce of her wants to. Now, you may be saying, all right, Arel, so where's the wraparound? Where's the good thing that happened because she did it? The truth is that hasn't happened yet. But what I can tell you is at least the door is open. And with the door being open, you never know what possibilities exist. Maybe she'll eventually want to get another job and she needs a recommendation from her previous employer. Never burn a bridge. I had one gentleman actually who gave me the idea to talk about this. His name is Matthew. And I was running a contest and he actually won one of the contests that I ran and he won a cash prize. And I said, hey, Matthew, I want to give you a cash prize. Where should I send it to? And he said, hey, listen, you know what? I appreciate the money. I would love to use it. But do me a favor. This other organization I used to work for Could you go ahead and donate it to them in my name? I was like, oh man, yeah, it's your money. I can do whatever you want me to do with it. So I go ahead and, I sent them a nice little donation, and they sent me a letter saying thank you. And they were also thanked Matthew, and actually sent Matthew that same letter. And they said they were so appreciative of it. And I was just thinking to myself, that former employer, they probably would never expect Matthew to do that. But since he did, they're just there. They're there to help him whatever he needs. And I just know it's so important to build those relationships. I've had some things where actually I've had stories where it's come around in my life where I've had people that I used to work with, partners, and we no longer are partners. And it was a very tough breakup, and I wasn't sure if our relationship would last. And I decided to, make sure that our relationship was the most important thing. And actually, after the case, we've actually found ways to still do business together, not as business partners, but as our partners, kind of vendors connecting with each other, where they've brought me business, I've brought them business, and we've actually had a really mutually beneficial relationship. And if I would have just said, I'm done with you guys, I hate you, I never liked you, or anything that I would have regretted, I would have shot myself in the foot of, one, losing great relationships, which really do mean the world to me. Those people are some of my best friends, but also I would have lost out on business. So never, ever, ever burn bridges. So this action strategy for this podcast is actually a non-action. So I want you to do your best if you're leaving a job, and maybe you have an old job, and maybe you can turn the non-action is don't burn bridges. Don't do those mean things. Don't do those silly things that may feel good in a moment for a long-term relationship. But maybe here's an action you can take. And this is going to be hard for some of you, but you'll be surprised at how much people will like you for this. Think of a past employer that you've had, a job. It could be as far back as your teenage years scooping ice cream. I don't know what it is for you, but think of something that you can do that might help them. Maybe a recommendation. Maybe you found an article that shares some important stats about their industry. Maybe someone's looking for a job and you can recommend them to that. It's very important, no matter how much you may feel animosity because of a position you had or whatever the case may be, to burn a bridge. And actually taking a moment or two to think about a past employer to go above and beyond might actually pay back in ways that you have no idea. Maybe they need to hire someone, and instead of you working for them, they'll hire you as a consultant of some sort because you were always good at what you did, but you had to leave the company to do something else. Or maybe the person that you talk to just as an individual has a cool opportunity. Honestly, what's so exciting about living is you never know what amazing opportunity awaits you tomorrow. You never know. One of the things that I talk about in some of the presentations I do is that you only need one punch. It's like a boxer can go 12 rounds, and every round they get beat up and knocked down and beat up and knocked down. But in the 12th round, they could have lost all 11 rounds and bloodied face and busted up face and bruise and all that stuff. But if they get one good punch in on the person that's been beating them up and they knock that person out, they win. So all you need is one punch to win. And I think that's a great analogy for life. And you never know what opportunities around the corner. You never know the person that you'll meet tomorrow. You never know how reaching out to someone to help or just stopping yourself from burning a bridge could actually create that one punch that opens up an opportunity that actually changes your world. So go ahead and give it a try. One, don't do, but also do. Reach out to a previous employer, previous relationship that maybe you feel like has no use for you, that you were happy to get away from, that you wanted to just bust up the place when you left, burn it down and all that stuff. And think of something good you can do for those people. It'll show that you're a big person. It'll show that you've developed as a human, but you never know what cool opportunities might just come from that and how people will start again talking about you. And again, there's a subtext here, people. You're building that reputation, people talking behind your back, building that legend of how amazing of a human being you are. Because I know that you're an amazing human being because you're listening to this podcast and investing in yourself. And now you have some strategies to bring out that awesome legend, likable legend that you are. So let me know what you think. Do you agree with this idea? Has this been something that's helped you? Has this been something that has hurt you? I want to know what's going on with you. Send me an email at info@artoflikability.com. Find me on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Snapchat, Instagram, Vox, whatever you're on. I'm probably on it too. Arel Moody. I'm the only Arel Moody in the entire world. So it's very easy to find me. AREL, M as in Mary, OO, D as in David, IE. Go ahead and hit me up. I reply to every message I get. And please, if you haven't done so, subscribe to the podcast. Go on iTunes, Stitcher, whatever you're listening to us on. Leave a 5-star review. Leave some comments. Love reading those. I listen to them I read them every single time I get one. So if you want to say something that's been positive and helpful, I'd love to hear what it is. And I reply to all the messages because I just love connecting with new people. So I hope that you build your likability so you can build your relationships. I hope that you can build your success and happiness. And if you don't want success and happiness, you are listening to the wrong podcast. Rel Moody signing out. Catch you on the next podcast, y'all. Sending you a big old high five. You are awesome.
Thanks for listening to The Art of Likeability. Please remember to subscribe to the podcast for more awesome info on how you can improve your likability and improve your life. Until next time, remember, you are awesome!